Hello and welcome to another YouTube exclusive of the Smash Accept podcast. I'm your host, Michael Royer. You can find me on Twitter at DynastyDadFF. It is Tuesday night. It is 9:30. You know what that means. It's another trade show special. This has become the highlight of my week. Like we've been doing this for a couple weeks now. We got Brock kicked in. Snoog and I keep debating trades back and forth. And there's nobody better to chop up trades with, nobody better to debate and sharpen each other than my main man, Snoog. How you doing, brother?
It's trade night, so I'm excited for this one. We have a lot of trades in here that are kind of interesting, so I'm excited to jump into this and kind of see where we're going to go with a lot of these trades and get some debates rolling. So let's jump into it.
Absolutely. And Brock, you're the seasoned vet, man. You're just that grizzled guy. You're a journeyman behind the mic. You've been taking care of business. I'm excited to get these trades in. I mean, we're doing a lot of things with the Patreon right now. We're doing a lot of things talking about rookie guides. A lot of the edits that we've been doing. And it's just an exciting time, as we're starting to put everything in. Smash Accept 17 started this week. It's just perfect.
Yeah, best time of the year. Let's waste no time. Let's go ahead and jump into these. I think we got 20 dialed up, and then maybe if we have some time, we'll get to some comments that start coming in. But kicking things off with, you got something to say real quick?
Yeah, absolutely. Is Snoog frozen?
He's a little he's showing frozen on my side, but I think I was still able to hear him.
Yeah. All right, Snoog. What we're looking at here is very much so. The Patreon Discord chat right now. Hey, we're gonna pause 30 seconds so I can cut that part out.
I think
Am I still frozen?
I think you're gonna need to remove him.
Stop talking
and put him back in.
We'll bring you back in. You're killing me. You're killing me, Snoog. All right. Well, Snoog's having some technical difficulties here. You all right there, Snoog?
He might have tried to refresh the browser or something.
Yeah, we'll hang tight here. We're gonna kind of get the whole thing kicked off the right way.
Yeah.
I don't feel like recording it 3 times. How you doing, anyways?
Doing good.
Always, this for the kids out there. You guys always got to refresh. You always got to restart the computer. Got to restart the modem. Get everything going here.
There he is.
I'm back,
dude.
Listen,
what you doing, man?
Little technical difficulties never hurt nobody.
All right. So, like I was saying, we're gonna take a break right now, guys. On our Patreon Discord chat, you can get everything. We have our rookie rankings. Snoog and Brock have been putting together a rookie guide that is nearly finished. We have player values, so you can equivalate, find what your player is worth as far as 2025 rookie picks. We have insight into 26 and 27 rookie picks, our buys, our sells, so much more. It has grown to, honestly, over 560 guys right now, talking shop, literally 24/7. Guys are in there. Smash Accept 17 startup just started, and guys would say, it's almost impossible for me to draft now because they're kicking my butt because they're like, we got Dad's rankings. We're already set up here. Like, we know who Dad's going to take, and they're coming out, and they're coming on strong, and I love doing these kind of things. This is the time to join this group. Everybody's like, you know what, Dad, we love what you and Snoog are doing on Twitter. We'll join in May. Now's the time to do it, man. Now we're talking about you get into trade windows. You get into, find the tiers before the rest of your guys do, because you're going to find out what you can do in your rookie drafts. Snoog, I think you have that screen ready to throw up there.
No, that's what crashed my computer, so I ain't doing it now.
All right.
We're not doing it. But I was just going to show a quick glimpse of what the Discord looks like right now. I counted over 107 messages from yesterday morning until now in our fantasy football talk section of the Discord, where everybody can just openly chat about trades, rosters, startups, whatever it is they're trying to do. 72 trade talks in the trade section of the Discord alone since yesterday morning. So, and that's not counting the chat with Dad or chat with Snoog sections. I can't even keep up with it. I'm going to lose my girlfriend because you guys are so crazy and they're blowing me up 24/7, but I love it. I love you guys, and that's what we're here for. So let's jump into these trades and discuss some more trades, because that's what my brain has been doing for the past month, is just dynasty trades, and more dynasty trades.
All right, Brock, we'll turn the show over to you.
Sounds good. Let's go ahead and kick things off, gentlemen, here with trade number 1 from Will Bacon. That's a really cool last name, Will. So one side we got Purdy in the 104, and the other side we got Michael Penix and the 102. So jumping up 2 spots, maybe getting a QB upgrade. Kick this one over to you, Dad. Which side are we taking here?
Oh, I'm absolutely smashing Brock Purdy here. I mean, this class right now, I think the 102 to the 104 is a very flat tier. I think Brock Purdy is one of my, we just did our quarterback buys. Snoog and I are both personally going out and buying Brock Purdy right now. He's going for that value of the 105, 106, which is similar to what Michael Penix Jr. is. And Brock Purdy's put up back-to-back QB1 seasons where Michael Penix Jr. has one QB1 week. So I think the difference between 102, 104 in this year's class might not be that big. Last year's class, it could have been Daniels versus Marvin Harrison Jr., depending where you're at. But this year, I mean, Cam Ward, Travion Henderson, pick your poison. I think 102 and 104 are a flat level. This is a perfect trade to make.
Yeah, I'm on Dad's side here. I don't like Michael Penix to begin with. 102 and 104 as of today is honestly just a big tier. It's going to be pick your poison type. Brock Purdy over Penix by a mile. I actually like buying Purdy a lot in Dynasty right now because he has a little bit of rushing upside as well as being in a high-powered passing offense. About to get a big contract, so no-brainer move for me there.
I really like this trade. I mean, I want to get your opinion here, Brock. Is best case scenario here, 102 is, Cam Ward to the Giants or Ted McMillan to the Panthers. When we establish tiers like we have done in the rookie guide, like we're doing in the Patreon, it's like now you can see, all right, I don't really like Michael Penix Jr. I'm going to flip that 102 that has the more name cachet right now. I mean, By May, I don't see this having a big difference between the 102 and 104. And even if it does, I mean, is it enough to persuade you, Brock, off of Brock Purdy?
No, I'm in a right step there with you guys as well. I think right now what we have like an initial tiers we were doing, Snoog, like between like the 102 to like the 105, 106. It's like starting to get a big range there with a couple quarterbacks, a couple running backs, and with Ted or the wide receiver one here. So if you have like a lot of conviction that you have a certain player you definitely want to nab, maybe you make this trade. But seeing 2 games out of Penix, seeing like now 3 seasons out of Purdy, top 12, only moving back 2 spots, I think this one's a no-brainer. And we'll go ahead and kick this one over here to the next trade from Krill Bizzle. We got a bunch of cool names here coming in with the trades today. So one side of the trade is going to be Justin Fields, Jahmyr Gibbs, Rashad Bateman. I'm going to assume Christian Watson. I don't think Deshaun Watson's getting moved these days, but in the 110. Other side is Derek Carr, Chuba Hubbard, Jonathan Brooks, Rome in the 101. So this is almost like a 5-for-5 trade. Snoog, you want to go ahead and kick things off and break this one down?
Yeah, you know me, I'm never trading Jahmyr Gibbs, but this is the type of scenario that I would, because to me, I'm looking at this trade. I'm taking Rome Odunze in the 101, or I'm taking Chuba in the 101 over Gibbs, and then it's Odunze or Chuba Carr, like any mix of those two guys, basically for Fields in the 110. So to me, it's honestly pretty fair, but there's a big edge on the side of the 101 and Chuba or 101 and Odunze over Gibbs, because Junty's going to slide right into that same tier with Gibbs and Bijan as my RB3 in this class, as long as he gets first-round draft capital. But yeah, this is an interesting trade because I think Fields is going to gain value and become a quarterback somewhere else. But Chuba and Odunze are 2 guys that are really valuable compared to the rest of the turd sandwiches that you're getting on the other side. So,
yeah, what I'm looking at here right now is I'm looking at the 101 and Odunze for Gibbs in the 110 and Watson feel pretty fair. I like Fields over Carr, but I don't think there's going to be – this is almost like a free Chuba Hubbard. If we're doing this trade on the left-hand side with Fields, I want Bateman or Watson to be something worth a second. I don't want either of those guys right now. Rashad Bateman, if you still are a truther there, I'm sorry. I feel bad for you. He has occasional decent games. Christian Watson is a yards per route run marvel, but he can't stay on the field. I mean, he's always over 2.5, 2.8 yards per route run. He just isn't on the field. I mean, if that other side, you take those 2 guys out and you replace it with Jamison Williams, Jerry Jeudy, a late first, I think this is the type of trade. So I see what side he's on there. I see what we're trying to do if that was his side, but I'm buying Fields wherever I can, to be honest. If we could strip this down and go Fields, Gibbs for Carr, 101 and Brooks, I'll do it. You know what I mean? I feel like that's the way you want to get Gibbs. You want to have the best player here. Honestly, Junty's ceiling would be where Gibbs is at. So it's like I still want Gibbs, but this just isn't quite the right trade. And sometimes we talk about it. It doesn't have to be this or that. It can also be let's keep working it here.
All right, guys. So moving on here to trade number 3 from Luis Moncada from the Patreon. Shout out, Luis. So we got Bijan or Aiyuk in the 105. What do we think, Snoog?
I'm going to take Bijan here because to me, I'm getting a round 1 startup value and a player that's a cornerstone asset we can build the team around, an RB1 for the next 5 to 7 years. Versus Brandon Aiyuk coming off a torn ACL in the 105 and what's considered a weaker class. Although I do think that that's going to be probably a top 10 to 12 dynasty running back or like a top 25 dynasty wide receiver, maybe top 20. But it's just not enough. I think I'd probably need like another early second on the Aiyuk side or maybe 2 seconds to try to do something like this. But not a bad trade. I would just prefer Bijan here.
Yeah, I think this is the kind of trade where it's like, if you talk about Aiyuk in 105 versus the 101, I think it's pretty close. I think Aiyuk, but I'm still, even if this was the 101, I wouldn't be taking this. It's pretty clearly Bijan for me, who's, our RB2 throughout the process. I love Aiyuk. I'm buying him. But like Snook said, I want a 27 first, or I want an early 25 second here added on, where now I have a chance where I get Aiyuk and then I get, Quinshon Judkins or Omarion Hampton, and then I get maybe Devin Neal in the second. Now all of a sudden I've loaded up here and I've insulated getting a wide receiver 2 plus 2 running backs that give me a shot in 2025.
Yep. Agreed.
All right. Nice. So moving on here to trade number 4 from Rye Guy over there on Twitter. We got one side with Puka and Trey McBride, other side Justin Jefferson. Just to note, Dad, is this one tight end premium? Do you know?
It is tight end premium. It is not anything crazy. It's just 0.5.
All right. So McBride in a TEP and Puka for Justin Jefferson. Snoog, what do we think on this one?
Yeah, I was talking to Dad about this one beyond the show. If I can sell Justin Jefferson for a trade like this, I'm doing that all day. I'm getting 2 cornerstone assets for 1 here, the Dynasty tight end 2 by a mile, and a top 5 to 7, 8-ish Dynasty wide receiver for the next few years that's also young, that has not similar upside as Justin Jefferson, but there could be a year where he gets damn close to scoring with him, especially with Kupp leaving in an offense led by McVay and Stafford. So great trade. If I have a Justin Jefferson, and everybody listening that does, go see what you can get for him. Because if you could get some type of haul where it's like a Nico Collins, Puka, AJ Brown type, and then you can land like a Trey McBride or maybe a Brees Hall and like an early second or a late first on top 2, then I'd be trying to do a trade like that.
Trey McBride is about to get paid. He is going to get a long-term contract extension. Think about this. All right. He had 2 touchdowns last year. If he goes up to 7 or 8, he's the tight end 1, not even close. Like he was the tight end 2. He's your discount Brock Bowers. He's what you want in Dynasty. He's going in round 2 startups, but people are not valuing him properly. Like this trade here is perfect example. There was one in the Patreon today. I helped the guy work out. We got Nico Collins, Trey McBride in the 27 first for Jamar Chase in the 27 second. It's like the gap between Nico and Puka to Jamar Chase is pretty big. But when you throw Trey McBride in there, he's such a difference maker. Like he is honestly the tight end 2, and there's a chasm. Like it falls off big time. So get Trey McBride where you can. Work out some of these trades. I love Jefferson and Chase, but they're not that important that you can't tear down to a Puka Nacua or to a Nico Collins type.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And I think we got a super chat that just came in from Michael Kensel. If you want to go ahead and throw that one there up on the screen. Appreciate you, Michael. So he said we got 3 trades and tight end premium. So let's go ahead and start with the first one here. He wants to give the 107 for Njoku and Dobbins. So should he trade the 107 for David Njoku, J.K. Dobbins?
No.
Dad shaking his head no. Snoop shaking his head no.
No. Like Dave. Right now, I have David Njoku. I moved down to maybe like the 202 in value. J.K. Dobbins.
I wouldn't even give that.
J.K. Dobbins is a major sell for me right now because the Chargers will take a running back. So in that one, hold your 107. You're going to get Warren at 107, and that's that's what you want. He's going to be
tight end premium. Honestly, he might not make it, honestly.
But even if in that area you could trade back a little bit,
you land a stud running back or a Mecca Puka, then not even close for me there. Njoku and Dobbins, I probably wouldn't even pay like the 202 for combined. Not turd sandwiches, but roster cloggers that have value that I want off my rosters. Like if I have these guys sitting on my dynasty team, I'm waking up every single morning, looking at my phone and just sighing and shaking my head. Like, how can I get these guys off my team?
Yeah. All right. So keep the 107 for that one, Michael. Trade number 2 looks like AJ Brown, Ricky Pearsall, 4-7 and 5-7 for Garrett Wilson and the 109. So just trading away AJB, Ricky, 4th and a 5th, pretty irrelevant for G Willie and the 109. Snoog, which side are we taking on that one?
I'm smashing G Willie in the 109 there. Again, we're talking about a scenario where we can get a Tyler Warren, a Quinshard Judkins, a Travion Henderson, a Marion Hampton, Caleb Johnson, a Emeka Egbuka. One of those guys will be there at the 109. Getting that on top of Garrett Wilson to move off of Ricky Pearsall. AJ Brown and Garrett Wilson are wishy-washy for me. I have Garrett one spot ahead of him. I don't care who you rather, but it's 109 comfortably over Ricky Pearsall for me. So that's a good trade.
Totally agree.
Nice. And then the third one there is going to be Ladd and a second in 2026 for Mike Evans, Deshaun Vele, the 2-7 and the 3-7. So the way that he's setting these up, it looks like he's giving the first part of the deal. So, Dad, would you trade Ladd in a second next year for Evans, Vele, the 2-7 and the 3-7?
No, I'm keeping Ladd McConkey there. Honestly, when you look at players, Mike Evans can't go up in value. You know, like the 2-7, 3-7 are not enough to close that gap. I wouldn't trade, even if you take out, I wouldn't trade Ladd for the Evans 2-7, 3-7 and Vele. I wouldn't trade Ladd for Mike Evans in the 1-7, or it would be at least close there. Like that's the kind of trade
I would need like a 1. I'd need like a 1-7 and a 2-7 and an Evans plus type deal for a McConkey straight up. Yeah.
Love it, Michael.
Right.
Guys, you can, we are doing this on Twitter. We're doing this on YouTube. We're doing this in the Patreon, trying to give you guys all an even share of who's going to be able to get their trades on here. This past week, it was over 100 again between what's going on in the Discord, what's going on Patreon, YouTube. Michael's hitting that up there with the super chat. You could do it anywhere from $1.99 to whatever you want, just to be like, hey, I want to get my trade answered, and a lot of people like doing that. You can always DM us on Twitter, but like this is your best way while we're doing it on the show. So this one's real fun. I love this one. I want to make sure I hit this one.
All right. So we got trade number 5 here coming from C Will over on Twitter. So another McBride trade. We got Trey McBride and the 312 for David Montgomery and the 103. Another trade or Bowers for, was it Jonathan Taylor in the 103? You might have some more context behind this one. I'll kick this one over to you, Dad.
Yeah, so this one I was talking about with him, and he said, I have the 103. I don't need a quarterback. This is what I have. I have extra running backs. Do I trade Taylor in the 103 for Bowers, or do I trade Monty in the 103 for McBride? And I said you can't go wrong. I said both of these to me are smash accepts. I love both of these trades because I think you're getting a cornerstone tight end. I think the Monty 103 for McBride is a little bit better value. The Bowers one, you're going to have a lot more longevity here. Snoog, break the tie here for me. When I answered it on Twitter, I said Bowers. I'm looking at it right now with my, McBride chubby glasses on, and I'm like, this is just David Montgomery is the only gap there. So, like, would you I basically look at this. Would I rather have Jonathan Taylor and McBride or Brock Bowers and David Montgomery when it's all said and done? And I think it's Jonathan Taylor and McBride.
Yeah, I think so too. I think there's a big gap between JT and Monty, at least like a late first gap, because especially with DeMont coming off that knee injury and stuff and just getting up there in age, and then Gibbs is there. I think Taylor's a rock solid RB1, just got the big contract, and I think that Bowers is comfortably over McBride for me. So yeah, I'm taking the Bowers side here for sure.
Oh, you are?
I mean, the McBride side, the McBride side.
I like both if they're on the table. Like I just think the other one's sexier.
Yeah.
All right. Nice one there. So we'll go over to trade 6 from Sam Eichenlob. Sorry if I butchered that last name, Sam.
Oh, that's perfect.
From the Patreon. Yeah. Oh, nice. So we got only picks involved. So should he trade the 106 and tack on the 111 to move up to the 101? Snoog, what do you think? 106 and 111 for the 101 for Genty.
Dad reads my mind. Bust it out. I know what he's doing. Grab it.
Here it
Grab
is.
it. Grab the cowbell. That's a smash 101 all day. Yeah, that's a cheap. I'm not going to get many Junties because I didn't have like any 101s this year, but like any leagues I got like a 106, 107, 108 type thing, like this is the type of trade that I'd be throwing out there. And if he said no, I'd be pitching in a second, pitching in a David Njoku, pitching in an Aaron Jones to get that type of trade done. So good job there, Sam.
I've been telling everybody, I honestly think the gap between 101 and 102 is 106. So 102 and 106 is about the same in this year's class.
Gap. It's a
so
big gap.
If you can move from the 102 to the 101 and give anything less than the 106, I think you're going to win. You know, like you're going to end up giving like Luther Burden and Tet McMillan, and you're going to get Ashton Junty, or, you know, like as long as Travion Henderson doesn't go to the Cowboys or Chargers, I think that gap is huge. Or Cam Ward to the Giants. You know, I think this is that deal where if I'm trying to rebuild, a lot of you guys earned the 101. You know, like you went through the process that I teach you guys. You got the 101. If you're going to do this, turn it into an elite wide receiver plus. Not two random picks, but turn this into Brian Thomas Jr., turn this into Puka Nacua, turn this into Garrett Wilson plus, turn this into Jackson Smith and Jigba plus. I think you could get Jackson Smith and Jigba in the 111 here for the 101. I think you could get more than that even. So hold that pick. Once he goes to the Cowboys, guys, once he goes to the Chargers, once he goes to the Broncos, that's going to skyrocket. So don't trade the 101 now. Almost every trade that I get in the Discord and on Twitter, I say, nope, hold the 101. Just hold it. If you are going for it, though, and this is why you guys are so much further ahead because you listen to us, now's the time you buy it. Like on paper, the 106 and 111 might not sound bad, but I mean, if you do 102 and 111 and that guy sees that and he's rebuilding, he's like, oh, I get 2 shots at this. But Junty's just different.
I have a question for both of you before we jump to the next one. So I'm just thinking about this in my head because you're like, well, if Travion Henderson doesn't go here, here, or here. But I saw there's been a few running backs, like Caleb Johnson mocked in the first round to the Vikings by, I forget who did that, but one of the big draft analysts did. And then Chris Reuter, who also works for NFL.com and does a lot of the draft stuff, just recently mocked Quinshad Judkins in the first round to the Steelers at pick 21. Brock, you got a yellow and black background in your room. We know what you're saying to this one, but Dad, like, what would the gap be between Ashton Junty and Quinshad Judkins if Judkins went 21st overall to the Steelers and Junty went, let's say, 20th to the Broncos? Like, I still think there's a big gap talent-wise. I think the consensus, like, a lot of people would start to think that, like, it's close just because they went back-to-back like that. Like, I think people would make that closer than it should be. And I'm the biggest Judkins truther there is.
The only way it gets, the only way this shrinks, the gap between the 101 and 102, is McMillan to the Panthers, Ward to the Giants, or Henderson to the Cowboys. That's it for me. Like the other ones, I think you could start to bring it in closer, but like those are the only 3 guys where I love Judkins. I love a lot of these running backs in this class, but I think the 3-down skill set of Henderson is the only one where I'm like, damn, that just got close. You know, the rest of them, I feel like it's still a gap, and not right now. I said 102 and 106. Maybe it's 102 and 108. You know, but it's like it's not changing much.
Yeah, the rest of them feel like rock solid RB1s, like guys that are going to be top 10 to 12 guys. Like we know that top 5 that we've been talking about, the consensus top 5 is just rock solid. Like if you don't like one of them, then I don't know what to tell you. Maybe you just don't like this class, but like to us, that's like those 5 are like bread and butter guys. But let's jump to this next trade.
See, I got 4 kids, you know, and I love them all equally. And I'll say if other people don't like them, that's not for them. Snoop's got 4 kids in that tier 2 running backs where he's like, if you don't like my kids, to hell with you. You know what I mean? Like he's like, they're great.
I love this running back class. It's one that I'm going to remember for a while. We're not going to get one like this for a while. So,
yeah. All right, here. Kicking off trade number 7 from AJ Pollock. I think it's also an MLB player. Maybe he's in the Patreon. So we got Jameis Winston, Malik Neighbors, and a 25 first. Other side is going to be Brandon Aiyuk, JJ McCarthy, the 106 and the 304. So kick this one over to you here, Dad.
So, you know, if this was AJ Pollock, that's interesting. I actually have a couple former NBA players in my DMs that I give fantasy advice to. So it's like a cool thing because I was like, wait a second, is that really that guy? And then I looked at it and I messaged him and it's like, nope, it is. And you're like, okay, this is really cool. You know, like when former athletes get involved in that kind of stuff. I am not trading Malik Neighbors just period. So like the way this, I'm interested to see what this is because it says 106 on the one side, but then the other side says 25 first. So I think he meant to write Neighbors 26 first or Aiyuk McCarthy 106. So, I mean, in my head, I'm going to negate out the 106, 25 first, and I'm going to look at Aiyuk McCarthy. Even if you take the 25 first out, if you offered me Aiyuk McCarthy in the 106 for Malik Neighbors, I wouldn't do it. And Jameis Winston, I wouldn't sell for the 304. So this is a smash. We did it last show. Don't sell Malik Neighbors, Brock Bowers, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, unless you're getting something else elite. And Aiyuk is good. McCarthy could be good. The 106 could be good. The 304 is a dart throw. None of it's going to equal Malik Neighbors unless the 106 ends up being a wide receiver that, ascends like a Brian Thomas Jr., which I don't see in this class.
Emeka Egbuka.
It's just,
Nah, yeah, this is Neighbors all day. Like, you can skip me. We could jump to the next one. I would take Neighbors over that side alone without the first. So,
all right, good there, good trade there, AJ. So next trade up, Taylor Cobb from the Patreon. We got a one spot difference here. We got JSN in the 104 or JT in the 105. Snoog, first question: does the pick swap make a difference, or is this just hey, pick your guy, JSN, JT? Which one do I want?
It does make a difference for me, especially because I'd take JSN over JT already, and then I'm just getting a free one spot jump. That could be a difference right there. Like Dad said earlier, he's in Dad's head. Now, I'm not even saying mine. And in Dad's head and in other people's heads, they're saying,
thinking for him.
He's saying, in my head.
Yeah. Saying, okay, this is the philosophy, though. Like, you need to understand, like, your leagues and stuff and your league mates. So he's thinking, okay, 102 is Cam Ward, Tet McMillan, or Travion Henderson. So that would give you the 104. That means to him, there's a tier gap between 104 and 105. So that's just a free taking your king and jumping, or taking your checker and jumping the guy, because it's just a free spot ahead that could make a huge difference, or it could mean nothing. But either way, I'm taking JSN here. So this was one. Dad said he helped out the guy in the Discord, and he dropped this in my section, in my chat with Snoog section, and a bunch of guys were in there like commenting like, smash the JSN side, like that's a great deal. So that's another positive about the Discord, is like people are in there answering questions for me, which makes it so special.
Yeah, I'm a little bit more personal with mine. I was like, you got to DM me. Come on, let's get this going. But this particular trade is a double win. You JSN over Jonathan Taylor, 104 over 105. And this is why I always say to people, if you want to trade Jonathan Taylor or JSN 1-for-1, depending on what you like, just try to make it a 2-for-2 so you have two shots. Like a lot of times, I would do JSN and a running back for JT and a wide receiver and make this a flip. In this one, the guy was probably like, all right, let's do JSN, JT. And apparently they kind of transferred it over into the next one, So it's like not every trade has to just be 1-for-1. I love this one a lot. The next guy, Context Capper. This is 2 straight weeks on the show. He's starting to become a staple here.
Yep. Trade number 9 here. It's going to be one side with Kyle Pitts and Ricky Pearsall or Bryce Young. So, well, first I want to ask, I'll kick this back over to you, Dad. How often is it that you're moving a quarterback for a deal where you're not receiving one back? Is that something you like doing?
Yeah.
Or even for something like this, a receiver and a tight end for a quarterback. Is this a trade you would normally make? And then obviously this trade here, which side would you take?
That's a great question. When we did our quarterback buy show, I look at the quarterback position. I want 2 elite, and then I want a guy that's going to be fine putting in there, and then we were looking at Snoog and I've been breaking down a lot of rosters on Twitter, on YouTube. We do like one-time fees on that. And a lot of guys have Bryce Young as their quarterback 4, quarterback 5, or they do those kind of things. Then I'm okay trading a quarterback and not getting one back. But for the most part, I'm even trying to get, even if it's just a Jameis Winston type back or a guy that, could end up being a quarterback, I want them in there. This particular trade, I know everybody's on the Ricky Pearsall train. The Debo's rumored to get traded to the Steelers, which I would really love for the Steelers. You know what I mean? Because, maybe put him in, then they draft a running back, but then they use him in that, in that role where he would be a pass catching guy out of the backfield, do so many things, move him around. Kyle Pitts, I'm done. I'm done. Yeah, he's got to get traded. I want Bryce Young here if I need a quarterback. If I don't need a quarterback, I think I'm tearing up off of Bryce Young. Like, I would rather do Bryce Young and a first and go get myself someone that's legitimate that's going to put up points for me. I'm not taking a quarterback. I'm not taking a quarterback and saying, hey, go ahead, give me a couple of mid-level pieces that aren't going to do anything. Because if I'm starting Ricky Purcell or Kyle Pitts in any of my leagues, I don't feel good at all.
Yeah, that's that SpongeBob meme when he's like laying in bed, just like staring at the ceiling for like hours and hours at night. That's literally if I have Kyle Pitts on any dynasty.
I have zero. I feel really good.
I have him in the Smash Accept League.
Brock has him. That's why he hasn't slept in 6 days.
It's brutal. I went to UF. My bias had me there. I mean, year one, I was feeling great. I said touchdown aggression's coming back. Injury really never seemed to get over that. So yeah, I'm moving off of Kyle Pitts anywhere I can. I'll take the Bryce Young side here.
Yeah.
All right. It looks like we got a couple of super chats here, Dad.
Go ahead and
hit on those real quick.
Give me 1 second.
We got another one there from Michael.
Up here.
We'll start with this one here from ChaiStar86. Appreciate the super chat there, ChaiStar. So we got a 12-team super flex. He has Baker and Mahomes as his QB 1 and 2. But at running back, he only has Swift and Chase Brown. He said he just traded. Okay, so this is after Baker and Mahomes are his quarterbacks after he traded Bo Nix. Okay, so he traded Bo Nix in the 109 for A-Rich in the 104. So moved up 5 spots, swapped Bo Nix for A-Rich. See you making some faces there, Snoog. Which side would you take in this one?
I think it's definitely an upside risk going with the Richardson side. I think 109 to 104 could be a huge jump when it's all said and done come rookie draft time. I know right now we're all saying like, oh, it's a tier. It's all a tier after Junty till like 109, 110. But like in reality, it's not going to be like that. We think it's always that, and it always ends up changing. But I'm comfortably taking Bo Nix over Richardson.
Yeah.
So that's one that I'm saying, okay, I have 2 quarterbacks that I don't really need Bo Nix. So I'm going to go with a wicked high upside quarterback 3 in Anthony Richardson and jump up a bunch in the draft. I like this type of trade if I can take that 104 and turn it into an AJ Brown or add on it and get a Nico Collins or turn it into a Drake London, Garrett Wilson type wide receiver. That'll make me feel better knowing that pick's guaranteed going to hit and be a stud rather than take 2 gambles on 2 players. But I don't know, Dad, where are you at on this one? I haven't really seen any Bo Nix trades. I don't really know what his value is. I know he's like a 3rd, 4th round starter pick. So,
okay, here's I mean, in the Patreon, I have Bo Nix worth the 104 and I have Anthony Richardson worth the 109. So this is literally as even as you can get. I think for me, the way I would build this is Patrick Mahomes is your QB2. Baker Mayfield, honestly, is he's the best value in Dynasty, period. Like Baker Mayfield's putting up back-to-back top 8 seasons. He's fantastic. So you have 2 nice, solid floors. Give me Anthony Richardson here, where we talked about it, where he's started 15 games, 11 of them he's been a top 15 quarterback. You don't need him to be your starter, but guess what? He's got a hell of a lot of upside. And now you don't have a running back where now you get the 104 and that becomes Quinshon Judkins. That becomes, that becomes a guy that you really need. I think what Snoog was onto something there of on draft day, you move from the 104 down to 108, you know what I mean? And pick up an Alvin Kamara, pick up a Joe Mixon, move to 108. And then all of a sudden that's a Marion Hampton there at 108. Like you really reset that running back room because there's a real chance here that both of these running backs get replaced. You know what I mean? So ChaiStar, make sure you reach out to either of our DMs on Twitter or in the Discord. I mean, I think there's a lot of options here with this. I mean, right now, I think you could take the 109 and you could buy James Cook with rookie fever. You know what I mean? If that's really where you're trying to go, is you're trying to get somebody solidified, I think you can go and you can buy a running back that really would have instant impact and keep Bo Nix if you like him.
Michael Kensel put another super chat. The trade's below.
Okay.
But he said, you 3 are so helpful at all costs. I'm learning so much in my first year of Dynasty. Get your subscriptions. It's the league winning move. Absolutely. Appreciate that, Michael. That's what we're trying to do. We're not just putting content in a Discord. We're trying to build a community. I got guys in there that we trust, that we know, that have been in the Discord for years now, that are in there running startups for everybody. Like I get so many DMs like, I'm looking to get in a league, Stu. Are you running any soon? I'm like, get my Discord, dude. Like you can get in safe leagues that use league safe, that you can trust, and get in multiple of them. I'm also posting any orphans I get. I commission over 20 leagues, so I get orphans like decent amount of the time, and those are always open as well. I put them first come, first serve in there for people.
I posted a smash accept 5 orphan that a guy just said, hey, had a kid, I'm not really interested in playing more dynasty leagues. It filled in 30 seconds. I posted it on there, and it was like I didn't even tag anybody. It was like boom, done. Smash accept 17 startup. Just so many of you guys have been asking to get into those, and it's just we're 2 rounds in. There has been 9 trades in 2 rounds. A lot of you guys are like, I just did a startup and there were 2 trades. So I'm like, these. I know I haven't even made one yet. Normally I make 15 plus, and these guys are just cranking them out. If you want to play with more degenerates, you've got to be in rooms talking to more degenerates like us. If that's something like, that's really what the Discord's all about, is like, if you are a true, like, I love this game. I love fantasy football so much that I've moved to Dynasty, and I love Dynasty so much that I want to talk about it. This is the place to go, because nobody else cares about it other than these guys. And they are true degenerates. There are guys that are, talking shop about this all the time. So we got a ton of trades. We got to keep moving. That'll be the last time we talk Patreon. Let's go.
All right. And just before we grab into that one, real quick, Michael had another trade there. He wasn't able to fit it in the super chat. It was 107 in Deontay for the 108. Just want to touch on that one real quick before we get back.
I take the 107
in Deontay. Yeah.
Deontay Johnson's I would like throw like the 305 at him, because I think he could like get a shot again. But there's some character issues that have to be there. He was so good with Pittsburgh, but like something's not right. Like the fact that he was just bouncing from team to team, and wide receiver needy teams. So stick with the 107 there. That's not worth moving back.
All right. So back to our regularly scheduled program here. Trades coming from Mike Aldridge from the Twitter. So we got one side, Josh Jacobs, Xavier Legette, 27 first and a 25 second, or George Kittle, Tyrone Tracy, and a 27 second. So we got a little 4 for 3 here, Snoog. Which side are we thinking?
I'm smashing the Jacobs side. I'm taking the 27 first and second over Kittle, and I'm taking Jacobs and Legette over Tracy in a second all day. Yeah. And I'm a giant George Kittle fan, but Tracy's one of my biggest sells of the offseason. He's a guy that's going to probably find himself with a Damian Martinez or an Ollie Gordon type friend power back on day 2 or day 3. That's going to probably take a lot of value from him. He's going to have like that Rachaad White effect. Like he's going to get a guy that's better than him in that backfield that's going to outshine him and then lose all his value. That's my prediction there. So Jacobs is one of our biggest buys, Dad and I included. So.
Yeah, I mean, I would prefer Jacobs and the 25 second over Kittle, Tracy, and a 27 second. This is almost to a point of a free 27 first for me. And I love Kittle. I'm buying Kittle wherever I can. But unless this is start 2 tight end or this is a 2.0 tight end premium, I want Josh Jacobs everywhere I can get him.
Same.
All right. Nice trade there, Mike. So moving on here, trade number 11 from Canubis69 over there from Twitter. So we got one side with Jalen McMillan, the 101, a 26 first, a 26 second, or Tank Bigsby, BTJ, and a pair of thirds. Kick this one back over to you there, Dad. We got McMillan, GT, first and second, Bigsby, BTJ, and a couple thirds.
Bring out the cowbell.
I'm looking at this one, and I'm looking also at his Twitter name, and it's cannabis, and you'd have to be smoking a ton of cannabis to move the 101 on this one. You got McMillan, the 101, the 26 first and second. This is basically – BTJ's worth the 101. So this is essentially giving up a first, a second, and McMillan for Bigsby and a pair of thirds. You know what I mean? Like, don't do it. Don't let other friends get drunk or get high and make trades. We're not doing that. You know what I mean? So like, don't do that one.
I'm taking Genty over the whole package straight up.
Brock's like, we're going to keep going. This is
keep up, move. The cowbells are easy. So we got the real P here from Twitter. So we got one side with DK Metcalf, George Pickens in the 212. Other side is Zach Ertz, DJ Moore, and Terry McLaurin. A couple commanders on the one side. Snoog, we liking the Metcalf Pickens side, or we liking the Ertz, McLaurin, and the Ertz side?
This one's so close to me because DJ Moore and DK Metcalf both got insanely big bumps in value with good coaching changes for once for their teams. And then it's literally just Pickens in the 212 versus Terry. If I'm contending, I'm going DJ and McLaurin. If I'm rebuilding, I'm going the other way. Because I do think Pickens is still really good, and we saw his upside of what he can be. So if the Steelers somehow let him walk or he tests free agency or anything like that, I think he can gain a ton of value going to a new team. But I just talked myself into DJ Moore and Terry. Give me those two because, just give me those two. They're both going to put up so many more points than the other guys.
It's hard. I'm with you. Like, I feel like the 212 belongs on the DJ Moore side value-wise, but I want DJ Moore and McLaurin too. And I feel like that means if I'm buying the Metcalf Pickens side, I might want to try something else. You know what I mean? Like, I might want to go in a different direction. So when we have trades that are that close and you feel like, I should take this side because of the value, but I don't want it, that likely means we need to revisit this trade and make it into something else.
Yeah.
All right. Trade number 13 here from Curtis Crawford from Twitter. Appreciate the message here, Curtis. So we got a 1 QB league. Don't see these too often. So Caleb Williams in the 201 for Michael Pittman and the 107. So let's get our one quarterback brains working here. So Caleb in 201, Michael Pittman in the 107. Snoog, what do we think here with this one?
Yeah, I was telling Dad, I was like, man, I haven't played in a single one quarterback league. So knowing what a quarterback's value is so random and weird in one quarterback leagues because it varies from league to league. So I'm just going to go with Caleb here because I'm honestly taking the 201 over Pittman. And then to me, it's like Caleb is like the gap between the 107 and the 201 versus like Caleb Williams being a top 5 to 10 quarterback for you in a one quarterback league, especially if it's 12 man versus Pittman being a starter on that team is probably giant. So I just go with Caleb here because there's no quarterback in this class or next year's class that are like Caleb Williams.
I thought you guys were going to be ageist and go with me since one quarterback is a little bit more of a dinosaur thing, and you'd be surprised. And if you guys make sure you guys tune in tomorrow, we're going to do at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. We're going to do a one quarterback rookie mock. PM. Yeah, we're not doing it in the morning, but a lot of you guys are reaching out on those one quarterback things. I do a lot of that. Like I've played in a lot of one quarterback leagues. We do a lot in the Patreon. This is a smash for me. I think 107 versus 201 is you're going to get a decent running back. Snoog and I have been talking about where you could see Devin Neal or Cam Scatterbo getting a landing spot where they get really close to the end of that tier 2. And I think this is what you're looking at here. Caleb Williams is just a difference maker at the quarterback position. If you don't need the quarterback, if he's your QB3 and a start 1, then it's fine going to the 107. But otherwise, that's how we're playing it.
All right. Next trade here coming from John Lord from the Patreon. We got Dak and Marv and BTJ. So a couple stud receivers in Dak. Other side, Burrow and Nico Collins. So I see the gears turning there. What side are you thinking?
This one's close, but I'm going to still go with Burrow and Nico here. I'm looking at it like BTJ and Nico is a wash to me, and then Burrow for Dak and Marv. I'm still going Burrow here. Like even if Dak bounces back in a big way, like he'll never find himself back in that top 10 range because he's just too old and there's too many good young quarterbacks. So I'm having a hard time figuring out how Dak can gain a bunch of value again. He could go out there and throw 4,500 yards and 30 touchdown passes again, and he probably won't gain any value. He'll be like a 4th or 5th round starter pick still. So I'm just going to roll it with Joe Burrow, a guy that is a top 3 to 5 dynasty QB plus a top 5 to 6 dynasty wide receiver and Nico Collins.
Shout out to Matt Vales in Smash Accept 17. He just traded for Joe Burrow. He now has Joe Burrow, Bijan Robinson, Amon-Ra, and Puka through 2 rounds. He has made some crazy amounts of trades. We're going to cover another one of his trades later here, but he gave up a late 4 startup, an early 5, a 26 first, and a 9th rounder. That's a lot, but Joe Burrow in a 6-point passing league, this is not even close. I'm with you. Snook, it's got to be BTJ and Nico are a wash. Like you have to get something else thrown in there. So, all right, let's head to the next Patreon question.
All right, next trade here coming from Ant-Man from the Patreon. So we got Ricky Pearsall in the 106 or Rome Odunze in the 202. So if it's a 12-team league, moving back 8 spots, swapping Ricky for Rome. Kick this one back over to you, Dad. Which side are we thinking here?
I think I know he's in the Patreon. I have Rome worth the 106 and I have Purcell with the 202. So this is literally dead even value. But I think right now I want Rome. Like Rome, when Purcell could get value once Debo goes, Rome will get crazy value if Keenan leaves.
Mhm.
Like there's a lot of room for variance here on this one, but I don't see the gap between 106 and 202 being as large as the gap I have between Rome and Ricky Purcell as prospects.
Agree with Dad here. I think Rome, that's a trade I wouldn't want to do. Like,
No.
it's just too much if. But, like, if I was going to, like, you're forcing me to make that type of trade, I'd lean the Rome side because I do think he bounces back in a big way like JSN did in year 2.
All right, next trade here is with M. Valles and CP3015. And this is coming from your Smash Accept 17 startup. So I'll kick this one over to you, Dad, give a little bit of context for this trade. Then we can go ahead and dive into it.
Yeah, so this one we're looking at, it was the 112, and then on the clock, Matt traded, or he picked up Bijan Robinson for the 305 startup, which ended up being rookie pick 102, a 26 first and a 26 second. Me personally, I see it for both sides here. I mean, like I think that's the proper value for Bijan Robinson. I think in a startup, that's the kind of insulation I absolutely love to get, because then you just keep tearing back because, you know, on the clock in your rookie draft, you can take the 102, tear it back to 108 and get another 26 first. Now all of a sudden you're talking about 108 and 2 firsts and a second for Bijan. That's how I'm going to play. And that's what I love about startups is so many guys just say they're just picking randomly. At Smash Accept, we're making plans, right? Like, so I know Matt is trying to tier up. Like I said, he's got Puka, Amon-Ra, Bijan, and Burrow, and the other guys he's trying to tier back and just accumulate value. There's no wrong way to slice it as long as you have a plan, and I think this is a good trade.
Agree with that there as well. I'm probably leaning, depending on who's there at that 305, like Dad and I just did a recent startup like mock for the first 4 or 5 rounds. Yeah,
he went 102. He went 102, but the choices were Bo Nix, Ladd McConkey, Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, that's what I knew it was 102, but I wanted to see what else I could have gotten. So, yeah, I think it's about fair.
All right, next trade here coming from Nolly from the Patreon. Appreciate the trade here, Nolly. So we got Saquon coming off his Super Bowl win there, the 302 and the 26 third for Rome, the 203 and a late 26 first. So Snoog, what do we think here with this one?
I'm going to take the Rome side, and because you're getting a young potential cornerstone wide receiver with Ben Johnson coming into play with an elite quarterback long-term, the 203 and what's projected a late 26 first. Most people don't really know if it's actually late or not. So much can happen. I've traded away picks that I thought were going to be 112 that my team was stacked that ended up being the 106. So you never really know until it's like mid to late season. Anything could happen. So I'd lean the potential upside of that pick being maybe 107, 108, 109-ish, plus a Rome who's also worth like the 106. I have Barkley priced right around 2 mid to late first right now. So this is a good haul if I was going to trade Barkley.
This is the trade you make in week 10 when Saquon's healthy and you're trying to push for the playoffs. So, I mean, I did in Smash Accept 17, I took Saquon at 212. I couldn't feel better about it in a 0.25 PPC where he was dropping 30, 40, even a 50 burger last year, you know. So, like, I want Saquon, but I feel like if I'm insulating, I don't love the other side, but I think Rome 203 and the 26 first has more value. I would rather sell Saquon, like we said with those other deals where I was like, I'm going to use him to buy an elite level wide receiver. You know, like this is a lot of upside, but I mean, a guy that's a contender, you might be able to get something a little bit different. So, you know, I'm not actively trying to push Saquon. Another MLB star here on Twitter.
Yeah, we got Ronald Acuna sending us trades. So he was wanting to know if he should do one side, Travis Etienne and Rashee Rice. Other side, George Pickens, Isaiah Pacheco, a second and a third. So a little 2 for 4 here, Snoog. Etienne and Rice. I know your guys Etienne. Which side are we taking here?
I'm taking Etienne and Rice all day. Rice is the only cornerstone asset in this trade. Pacheco is awful. He's going to be replaced. Pickens is a
Did
fun
he even
player.
get a carry in the Super Bowl? I feel like I don't even remember him seeing him.
I remember when everyone was trying to gas him up like he was an elite RB1 and he was going to be so good. Even I know he got injured, but like still he sucks. Like he's not good even before the injury. So you're getting Etienne, who had a horrible year but could have a big bounce back with Liam Cohen, and then I'd take Rashi over this package alone. So it's honestly just a free ETN in my opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, Rashi's the way there.
Yep.
All right. Is this a trade from Snoog, or this is just this person's name?
This was in a league that I run, that I commission.
All right. So let's go ahead and
so I can give context on this.
Yeah. So we got one side, Drake London and a 27 third. Other side is Jameson Williams, Isaiah Likely, 26 first, second, and third on a rebuilding team. So I'll go ahead and kick this one over to you, Snoog.
Yeah, so the guy that's getting the Jameson Williams side is getting all of his 26 picks back. So they are his picks he's getting.
All three of them.
Yeah, so he's doing that because he's going to start attacking a rebuild. The other guy doesn't really know that the guy looks like it's a 106 to 108 type team. The other guy I don't think knows he's going to be rebuilding, but I know this because this guy that got the Jameson Williams side was already reaching out to me trying to sell me a bunch of vets and was like, I can't do anything until I get my picks back. He got his picks back, so you already know I'm going to go shopping. But yeah, so I like the Jameson Williams side on this because it's probably going to be 101 to 104 ish, pretty locked and loaded, and then an early second and an early third as well. I'd probably just take the picks alone right there with London, and then it's kind of a JMO. I'd be flipping JMO for any first I can get my hands on, and if I have to add a mid to late second on top of them just to get a random 27 first, I'd do it, and that's how I would approach this trade.
Yeah, and this is the way to do it with a rebuilder. You know, the rebuilder comes up because, hey, Drake, I hear you like him young. And then we flip over, we get ourselves some rebuilding moves. Oh, man, that halftime show. But anyways, I had to get that in there. But, I mean, when you're rebuilding, you have to pick. This is, if you're doing it with our process, it's going to be the 101. So, I mean, that's a smash. We have one more trade here. We did 20 trades, and then we're going to do some quick hitters on YouTube. So, Brock, you hit the last one, then I'll hammer the YouTube guys.
All right, so trade number 20 here, finishing us off, we got from Damian Valden over there from Twitter. We got one side with Kenneth Walker, Xavier Worthy, the 209, or the 109, 112, Mooney, 212, and the 27 seconds. So Snoog, big Worthy truther over there. Are you taking Worthy in this one, or are we going to take the other side?
Yeah, I would here. I would take him in this trade because I think Kenneth Walker is a crazy good buy, and I'd pay the 109 and for Walker in the 209. And then I'm seeing that it's literally just Worthy for the 112 and Mooney in a second. Like I think that's a good price and value, but that's a pretty fair trade all around. Like if I'm rebuilding, I'd be fine taking the pick side because you're getting 2 seconds, 109, 112, Mooney and Adonai Mitchell, who you could probably turn into seconds. So pretty good trade. But
yeah, Garrett Atkins says Brock's in the building. Let's go. Brock killed it as the host. I'm going to take back over as we go rapid fire here. Snoog, Sergio Pinheiro wants to know Herbert, a 27 second, or T-Law 108 and the 401 in IDP. The IDP, just pushes a couple of guys up here. So is this enough? You and I are buying Trevor Lawrence. Is this enough for Justin Herbert?
I'd lean Herb here still. I think it's slightly underpaying for Herb. If you drop that 27 second and swung it to the other side, I'd probably do that. It'd be closer. But for me here, I'd stay put with Justin Herbert. I think the Chargers are building something special.
Agreed. OC Bean 24 Buckeye City. That's a long name. But Trevor Lawrence, the 106, or Drake May. What are you taking here, Brock? We put both these guys in
like
a recent
that trade.
Quarterback buy show.
Close. This one's close. I mean, if you're telling me I could get Travion or T-Law and then I could get someone at the 106, either a Luther Burden, Nick Buka, or like we said, like Caleb, Quinshon, Travion with a good landing spot. I mean, unless Drake May gets his wide receiver one and he gets some help with the O-line, I don't see anything changing here in the next year. Talking about who's got the better head coach, who's got the better offensive scheme, it's going to be T-Law. I'm pretty impartial here. I think this one's just as fair as it comes, honestly.
If I could get a second on the May side, I think I'm going to take it there. Next one here. I don't like that. Nathan Billman says, what are you guys buying Persol for? Question 2 is, and also it looks like 2 people are asking the same question. So we're just going to stick with the first part. Nathan Billman wants to know, Snoog, what are you buying Ricky Persol for? I'm looking at it right now. I have him at the 202. I've seen some analysts say that they would pay up to the 106. Last year, we were buying him for the 206 or 207. So what are you paying in this class?
Yeah.
I'm not paying anything for him. I'm not buying him. But if I was going to pay for him, I'd probably pay like the 206, 207, maybe
The
the
proper thing to
205.
do with Ricky Pearsall is to tier up off of
Pair
him.
him
Take
up.
the
Yeah,
hype.
pair him up with a second and go get a better player.
Exactly.
This is the
This
worst
one-
time to buy him. You want to buy him right after Debo
I'd be taking
requests a
him-
trade?
Because
doesn't make
I'd be
sense.
taking
doesn't
him
make
and I'd be turning him into like a DJ Moore, T Higgins type, Devontae Smith with like I'd take a second and add on him and see if I can get it done with that.
Brock, this is this must be Nathan
This is
Billman and
crazy.
Time to Golf. They both said the same question. Puka or 4 random first, 2 and 26 and 2 and 27. Let's even just call them late.
I'm taking the picks. I don't even care where they are.
It's a
Honestly.
10-team format, which does change it even more for the picks, in my opinion. You know, you want the upside there, but we're talking about 4 top 10 picks in 2 different draft classes. If that was Puka Nacua, or if that was Jamar Chase instead of Puka Nacua, would that change it for you?
Yeah, it would.
I would have to have something there that's.
I'd want a known piece. I know we talk about that a lot with the insulation, but even just like a T Higgins in 2 first, and it's like something like that, just to make it look a little more digestible.
I like it. The next one from JM. That CMC. What does that mean when they do those? Am I a boomer? Where
I have
the
no idea.
slashes with the U. All right, we're gonna call it CMC and 203 or Jonathan Taylor 103. No, that's not it. These are just so CMC's on one side, 203 and Jonathan Taylor. I mean, that's got to be Jonathan Taylor's side.
I'm
We're gonna
so
skip this.
confused.
Hold on. No, I figured it out. I cracked the code. Would you like to pay Christian McCaffrey or the 203, Jonathan Taylor or the 103, or Jacobs and the 105? I'm paying for Christian McCaffrey there.
My brain just stopped working for a second.
Yeah, we're just gonna say that's what it is. We're gonna attack your heartstrings here, Brock.
I'd take Pitts.
Kyle Pitts are the 207.
I'd take
Oh
Pitts.
man,
I'd take
honestly,
him
like
for that.
a flyer
premium.
maybe, but tight end premium you could lean it. But honestly, that's what he's worth. He's worth it mid-second. If you can get a mid-second, I don't hate that one. This one I have some conviction for. This one's 106.
Hey, you got. Hey, I'm back in the host chair. Let me give you it out here. All right, Flowers of the 106. I have
106.
Flowers worth the 107. So I mean, I would lean the 106 because I think it's going to be something a little bit more upside. So that's a great question.
I have Flowers. I think I have Flowers worth the 110. I'm a lot lower on him than you are. Yeah. I think all the running backs are going to get pushed over him. I think Emeka will be pushed over him. So I have him.
Cody Johnson wants to know Breece Hall and Darnold or Addison, Reed, and Kraft. Don't even have Darnold in there. That's Breece. I'm not even going to answer.
All
That's
day. Breece Lightning.
All day. Tyler Ferryman. He says 10-team Superflex, the 102 and Bucky, or the 104, 107, 204 Snoog. What you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Bucky here.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna go with the Bucky side here. Definitely, yeah.
I think Bucky's worth the 104, but I'd rather the 102 over the 107 and 204. Brock, Daniel 444 wants to know, should I trade Bijan and Sullivan for the 101 and Bucky?
Who is Sullivan?
Have you seen Monsters Incorporated? It's Sully. We're gonna get him in. I'm not sure who Sullivan is. You know, we're getting some real questions here. I don't know Sullivan. We're gonna look into that one as you answer this question. So 101 and Bucky, man, Sullivan.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to give an answer without knowing, because Bucky. I mean, if that's a significant piece, then I'll take the Bijan side. But if not, I'll take GT and Bucky.
Yo, Nolan's easy.
Sullivan's like
got
this.
The jokes.
Sullivan's like this mystery Dynasty RB1 we don't know about.
Hey, Harrison Davis, he's in the Discord. Wanted to hear y'all discuss the receiving neighbors 101 and 26 first for Jefferson and Barkley that I discussed in the Discord. Damn, that's spicy.
Neighbors side
101 neighbors is the spice, and that's what I told him. But that is spicy. That's the kind of deals you're looking at. Version XX, Rome 103 or Cook Aiyuk 110. Brock.
Yeah, I'll take the Rome and the 103 here, honestly. Okay. James Cook had a really good year. Honestly, he had a lot of touchdowns this year, which kind of spiked his value. But honestly, with the class coming in, he's going to get pushed down to the RB 15 range probably after this rookie class, and then I'm personally not all the way back in on Aiyuk. I know he's been in like the show for the past 3 weeks, so it seems like he's getting moved a lot. I'm personally not buying him, so if I can get off of that late first, James Cook's probably worth another mid to late first, probably toward the later of that to get it. Like we said, receiver in Rome, Keenan's gone, new OC, new head coach. So that plus the 103, I'm taking that side all day.
Oh, we got some clarification on Sullivan. That was and Sutton on the other one. So it was not Sullivan. It was and Sutton. So let's go back to that one real quick. I mean, that's still Bijan Sutton. It's still 101 and Bucky pretty comfortably for me.
Yeah,
You know,
Sutton,
like
Sullivan, it doesn't matter in that one.
He's like, who's Sullivan? All right. One last trade here. We have so many of them, but Urbanski 8 says there was a trade in one of my leagues. 12-man, no super flex. This is a 1-quarterback league, full PPR. Guy traded Gibbs for A-Chain, the 109, 2 seconds, and the 307. Snoog. That's pretty close. I mean,
like a trade.
The value is on the A-Chain side, but I don't want him. I want Gibbs everywhere I can get him.
Yeah. I think I'd need to know if I could get one of my guys at that 109 spot or not, like, and where he goes. That it's gonna really come down to that 109. Like, can I nail that pick out of the ballpark? Like, can that be Travion? Can that be a Judkins? Can that be one of these stud running backs that goes in the second round to a good landing spot, like the Chargers, the Steelers, one of these teams? So,
okay, I lied. There's one more. Halea Comic Bro 101 and 102 for Nico, Browns, and Pickens. I'm taking the 101, 102. I think Nico's worth the 102, but man, Pickens and Brown, give me the 101 all day long, you know, so that I got to go that route. Guys, this is a fun show. I mean, I love doing this every single week. This has become the highlight of my week. I work all night. Like, I work a 12-hour day, and I get done, and I'm amped. I'm like, let's go get this thing going. Let's get this trade show going. You guys keep coming out in droves. We appreciate the super chats. We appreciate 5 guys signed up for the Discord during this show. We appreciate that kind of stuff. All the support that you guys have thrown at us at Smash Accept. So, again, make sure you guys check us out. I'm at Dynasty.ff. He's at Brock Dynasty. He's at FF Snoog. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and enjoy the process.